See how actual business owners are using AI to save money and time. AI on the Ground with Jeanette Stein.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of AI on the Ground, where we get real with real business owners. Today, I've got with me Mike Weston from Escape Velocity, and I'm just really excited to jump in with you. Mike, will you share just a little bit about yourself and about your companies so that we know where we're starting from?
I'm kind of addicted to this whole transformation game. Yeah, I could take that all the way back to when I was 6 years old, 6 weeks old rather. I was taken away from the country I was born in and moved to another country, and then I moved to another by the time I was 7, and then I moved to another when I was 20. So I've grown up with change being kind of built into the way in which my reality has been founded. So in the late 1990s, 1997, I was working in a newspaper group, working for Associated Newspapers, so Daily Mail
Mm-hmm.
is I guess the key title there. And I was helping to actually set up our first online business back in 97, at a time when we'd scarcely even got computers on our desks settled in yet. They were these sorts of things that people had put there, and most people didn't quite know what we were going to do with them. So that the internet thing was all a bit of a mind blowing thing for everybody. But I was already passionate about it. I'd seen that it was something that was going to, as they say, it was going to change everything. Sorry, Steve Jobs. But even before the iPhone came along,
Yes.
this connection, this ability to look at things not in terms of linear, but in terms of a pick your own journey type approach to information gathering, search rather than structure, and all of those kinds of things, for me meant that actually the world is kind of up for grabs a little bit here. Let's see where that goes. And so I got addicted to that change right the way back there, back in 97. Since then, I set up and ran a data science consultancy back in 2012. And we were helping some blue chip enterprise clients like HSBC, for example, to figure out actually how to make sense of the data that they had about their customers in particular, how to use that in a way to everything from improving logistics through to improving their marketing activity, all kinds of things like that, discover things that they possibly hadn't even quite realized were possible. And so we started getting our hands dirty with, because we had data scientists on the team as well as consultants. We started playing around with building algorithms using machine learning to improve the quality of responses. And then back in 2022, it would have been, the second half of the year, I was working with an ed tech, and I was helping, along with a guy from Capgemini and Vent. We were putting together a course on how to respond to emerging technology, and I
So good. I
discovered
love
this.
change management stuff. I get all geeked out. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't mean to interrupt.
I'm firmly
That's
there.
why
I
you
mean,
see the
change is
smile.
my.
I'm excited where this is going.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, I'm writing this piece. I've got a subject matter expert in the form of Carrie, who he's giving me all of the sort of the benefit of his wisdom there, and we're putting this together. And I discovered that this little thing was happening inside Google Sheets, where you could type a command called GPT, and it could automatically fill the data. And it's easy now to be blasé about that because we're like 3 years on from there. But ChatGPT hadn't happened yet. This was using the core GPT engine. I remember writing that piece about it, having to rewrite it about 3 times because I was thinking, I've got to get this right, because I've got to show people just actually how mind-boggling this is going to be. And between me submitting the program for with the owners of the EdTech platform and it actually going live, ChatGPT happened. And I'd said at the beginning of the course, I'd said, that the trouble with talking about emerging technology is that whatever you write today will no longer be up to date in about 5 minutes time, because
Yes.
that pace of change is so amazing. So our goal was to equip people with a framework for how to deal with something that was rapidly changing. Then along comes
Yeah.
ChatGPT, and suddenly I'm spending a bit of time helping people understand how to use Copilot, how to use Gemini, how to use Notebook LM, how to use a lot of these tools that they are able to use in corporate world because they've passed muster with their corporate overlords. And as we're doing that, I'm saying, okay, fine. Have you seen how much Gemini has actually changed in the course of the last 2 or 3 months?
Blows my mind, really. I've been blown away by how fast and rapid, like even on my team, I deal a lot with OpenAI, but I also have a Google expert because one person cannot stay up to date with all of it. Like we share with each other what's possible, but man, you need somebody in there playing, and that takes time. If somebody comes up and they're like, I'm the expert in all of them, just buyer beware. Like, because there's not enough hours in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I naturally have to have sort of a bit of a jack of all trades approach to
Yes.
this because um, a chunk of what I do is around helping ordinary people in large organizations to figure out how they're going to apply these technologies in the real world. Working with people who are in all kinds of different roles, not necessarily commercial organizations. Some of them are local government, national government. Some of them are in the medical profession. Some of them are in commercial organizations. Some of them are in consultancies. A whole wide range of people who are trying to figure out actually how they're going to apply these skills that we're trying to share with them around how to make sense of AI. How are they going to do that? So I have to be somewhat platform agnostic, which means that I'm not actually very good at any of them, but I can figure out a little bit of where to find. And where I think I probably major is in trying to help people make sense of their approach to it rather than the technical side of it. I can do a certain amount of it technically, but if there are people who are going to be better coders than me, who are going to be better prompt writers than me, that's all fine. I'm sort of working on the basis that you need to get your fundamentals right at the beginning. You need to
Yes.
know what is the problem that you're trying to solve. What is the job that you're hiring AI to do? And if you can
That is
figure that
90%
out,
of my work, I feel like, is helping people define what they actually want the AI to do, what problems they want it to solve, what the output they want it to look like. If they've got, I see people and they're like, well, I've got this template, or let's take that template and make an A plus example. Now let's make an A plus plus example where you're going to get testimonials right off the bat if it's filled out like this. Now let's make 6 more using AI. And now let's feed the AI that so that every single output is like that. But you're taking their expertise, their systems, their frameworks to make that A plus, right? It can't just be generic.
yeah. There's a guy at Stanford University, a guy called Michael Bernstein. His approach is he says that we've got this the wrong way around. We shouldn't be talking about this as artificial intelligence. We should be talking about this the other way around. We should be saying IA, and IA would intelligence augmentation. And I really like that framing. I like that framing because it demonstrates really clearly the importance of the human in the loop. We're still quite a long way away. Couldn't put a timing on it, but we're still quite a long way away from just letting it go and do its stuff. Which means that we need to know where we put the guardrails. We need to know where we put the oversight in there. We need to know where that happens. Let me give you an example. This is a slightly trivial example. A couple of weekends ago, I woke up Saturday morning and I knew that the weather forecast was dire. It was just going to rain the whole time. And we've been blessed with a lovely summer here in London. And so, I've been used to sort of spending every moment I can outside. But I thought this is the weekend where I do what I know I need to do, which is to paint the office upstairs that Sam uses for her work a couple of days a week. And it needed painting partly because we'd had a leak in the roof, which had water stain the wall. That was now properly dry. But also the color was just it didn't really do anything particularly in an online world. And she uses that for running meetings and those kinds of things. So I said, okay, fine, this is great. We haven't got the car because my son's taken the car, so I'm going to have to walk to the paint shop and the paint shop closes at 12:30 on a Saturday, and that's it. That's that the window of opportunity will close. So we need to decide in the next 3 hours what color we're going to paint the room. So she went to ChatGPT. She went to ChatGPT and she said, right, this is what I want to do. This is the room that I've got. This is the size of it. This is the height of the ceiling. Oh, here's a photograph of the room. What color should I go for? And it started asking her a few questions. What do you do for a living? What sort of image are you trying to present? Show me what do you look like? What's the contrast going to be? And it came back with a recommendation for two choices of color, and it presented that as an image to say, actually, this is what it would look like. And it even tidied the desk. I haven't quite got the humans to do that bit yet, so I was quite impressed with that. So I take the photograph, I go down to the paint shop, and there's a fantastic lady there who is she's a colorist, she's a professional. She sees color in a way that I just don't. And I said to her, right, this is what we've done. She looked a bit worried. And I know her reasonably well because, I've painted other rooms. So she said, she said to me at the end, she said, I really thought that this was the end of my role. And I now realize that my role is vital because when you came in, you would have bought, and the color we would have bought would have been called sage green. So, it had done it according to the paint company that we were buying from. So it was all good. Sage green, which would have been wrong. And it would have been wrong because it had too much blue in it. It was too dark. It didn't really sort of work in the room you've just shown me. And the color actually that they reproduced is this color. It's pea green, and this is the color. And it's nearer to that than to that. If you see what I mean. It was so it kind of it lifts the whole, and it's an attic office, so it lifts that whole room and brings it to life. And then it made some recommendations for what to do. But the key piece about this, and the reason I'm telling this story, is that I think it really illustrates that it can take you off in creative directions you hadn't thought about. It's not just there for automation and efficiency. It can help you to come up with ideas that you wouldn't necessarily come up with by yourself. But you still need that. You still need someone who knows what they're doing.
You still need someone
to be able to distill it.
It's so good. It's really interesting to me. Like if you ask ChatGPT just to create you a sales page, like everybody's seen one online, right? It's going to take the average of all these sales pages and how many of them aren't good, way more than are good.
Yeah.
And if you don't give it the human direction, it's going to give you average of C minus sales pages, and you're going to get C minus, if you're lucky, results.
Yeah.
But if you give it those parameters and what you're looking for and how you want it done and which framework, like if it takes StoryBrand and averages it with this philosophy and this philosophy and this philosophy, you just get a watered down, not effective of all of them. I always think about they tried to make, I heard this story. I haven't fact checked it, but it talks about the seats in the space shuttles as they go, right? And when they tried to make one fit for everybody, it fit no one, right? And I think when you take ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude and you just generic ask it to do something, it's going to mush all these examples across what it's been trained on and give you C minus results. And if without the human, at least yet,
Well, I mean, this is one of the capacities of AI, isn't it? Its ability to learn and to improve.
yeah,
And if we've trained it on everything that was on the internet before X date line drawn in the sand, you're absolutely right. A lot of that is the whole garbage in, garbage out piece, and some of it's not garbage. Some of it is really, really high quality stuff. And
some of it
sometimes the
is.
high quality stuff isn't high quality because it's rationally high quality. You can't you can't you can't automate genius.
Right.
You still need that kind of flair of that human flair. I still think is incredibly important still, because at the moment it's like Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. It may have access to enormous amounts of information, but it actually knows nothing. It's essentially just a particularly sophisticated piece of predictive text. You know what happens with the predictive text on your iPhone when you get it to,
Yeah.
send, to send messages to people. Sometimes that, if you don't have human oversight on that, that can go wrong. And
Yeah.
so, we need to be mindful, I think, of a lot of those kinds of things.
Yeah. So how are you using AI every day?
It's kind of difficult not to. I think it's become such an important go-to tool for all kinds of different things that I might want to do. So, one example, and this is, I think, the example we were talking about before we hit the record button. 3 or 4 years ago, I wrote a book, and I got to the end of that first draft. I got some feedback on it. I still haven't done all of the edits that I was supposed to do. So that means I now need to go back, reread the book, review it. The conditions in which I wrote the book were in the midst of COVID, whereas now actually we have a whole different type of disruption. It needs a little bit of rethinking, and the book's called Reimagine, so it possibly needs a bit of reimagination as well. I'm feeding the text of that into Notebook LM. One of the things that will do is it will help me, along with the things that I've written since, the things that I've recorded since, to be able to start synthesizing the way in which my thinking has evolved. Help me, therefore, to get back away from that writer's block that stopped me from finishing the damn thing in the first place, and turn it into something that is
Yes.
a proper output. It also means that I can start actually playing around with a little bit, and if I've got transcripts of sessions that I'm running with small business leaders, SME leaders, and say, actually, how am I going to tackle the next meeting? What are the things that I can draw from what we know, from what we've talked about previously, you and me, versus the things that I've written in terms of the structure that I've got for how I approach mentorship with you? How does that apply to dealing with uncertainty? How does that apply to your tech landscape? How does that apply to making the best of technology that's out there? If I feed all of that in there, then suddenly I've almost got um, counterpart to the way that I think now, that allows me to bounce ideas in a different way. And I think if you extend that out to one of my other favorite tricks with whichever of these Gen AI tools we're using, is to sort of get into a little bit of thought experiment with it and start playing around with. Imagine that so Gemini, Copilot, ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, whichever one we're using, it's you put yourself in the position of being 5 different people having a conversation about the context of this. I'd like you to have that discussion. I'd like you to involve me in that discussion, and let's discuss this element of it and see where that takes it to. I don't think that replaces a focus group, but what it
Yes.
does is it starts to give you some of the things that would help you to think about what the questions might be if you get into a focus group situation. Start giving you different perspectives on it. And I think Gen AI in particular is really, really good at that. So I think
I do too.
that's a one interesting dimension of what we can do.
I think my favorite prompt ever is what did I miss? Oh, it gives me the best feedback, or I'll say, what did I miss? Create 3 different personas as experts, different types of experts around this. What do they see? Like if they're finance or their business development or whatever, and tell me with this idea, what did I miss? What do I need to think about? How do these interact? And boy, the richness and the way it helps me think deeper about because sometimes you come in, you're just excited, right? Ooh, I've got the best next idea, right? And you're like, I'm gonna go build and I'm gonna go do my thing, and it's like, whoa, let's get some reality around this. Let's get make sure it's time well spent. And what did I miss? Act as these experts. Is this where I should be spending my time?
I tell you what, though, Jeanette. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things that I see, I think this is particularly true with Gemini, but I think it's also a bit true with Copilot and ChatGPT as well. Have you noticed that they've started to be really enthusiastic about whatever ideas you feed into them?
Yes. It. I've told it.
They kind of take you on the cheerleader role. It's
I
when did that
told
happen?
it, and it helped. I think ChatGPT went way too far. And I remind my clients, I'm like, it is a market, like they are a product. They want you to stay. They are building you up, making you feel good. right? They want you make sure you feel good. So I heard this prompt and I wish I could give credit. I don't remember where I heard it from, but it said, "You are not my friend. You are not my boss. Your job is not to pacify me. Your job is to do what I ask and give me proper feedback and not worry about what I want." Right. And so that prompt alone helped me get much better results out of ChatGPT. Where do you want it to go? What are you excited to do next? Like,
Well, I mean, the first point is, how can I possibly answer that question when you don't know what's going to happen? What's going to happen next? My old employers, the Daily Mail, put out a piece recently which was talking about the idea that something like 50% of traffic that used to go from Google to websites from search has vanished as a result of AI. Now, I suspect that's not
mhm,
exactly right, but I think it does highlight a change in the way that we are finding information. And I think that's really, really interesting. Um, there's a commercial impact for that as people in small businesses, we need to be able to deal with that. We need to be able to think, okay, what does that mean for the way in which we generate content, the way in which we market ourselves? What does that mean for the propositions that we're giving to our clients? Um,
yes.
but I also think that yeah, okay, there's danger in that for us, but there's also opportunity in that, because actually, where's that information coming from? How do we start creating things that are going to make sure that we get the attention that we need to make our businesses successful? What do we change about the way in which we deal with our clients that takes advantage of the opportunities and the challenges that this new technology or these new technologies bring to us? My passion is about helping people to deal with uncertainty and change. I have this strong belief that change is good. Now, I say that I sometimes talk about this in the idea that by breathing in the air around us, we change the chemical composition of that air. If we didn't have change, we would quite simply not exist. So it's not change that's our problem. It's our reaction to change. And our reaction to change often comes from fear, often comes from not understanding, often comes from the sense that change is being done to us and we have no agency. How do I give them that sense of, oh, therefore I can do, oh, I didn't realize I could do this. And that takes us here. So where do we go from here? We go to a place where actually we are alert to the things that could be problematic. We mitigate those risks and we deal with that. But at the same time, we think about actually what does that create as an option for us, and that's where I want to help people to get to. I want to help people to get excited by the possibilities, whilst not losing sight of what is going to be different. That those differences are things that we have to embrace. If we don't embrace them, we might as well close up shop and go away. We
That's
can't
right.
go back.
Wow. Mike, so well said. Mike, where, if people are interested in you, where can they find you?
Really,
What,
really simple. I am Mike at escape-velocity.co.uk. So I'm London based. That doesn't mean that I'm tied to being in London at all times. I can help people wherever they are, but that's where I am. So Mike at escape-velocity.co.uk.
it sounds like your book needs to go out. I would encourage you to get that done.
I shall go and get back to work then, Jeanette.
Yes, I will let you do it. Thank you so much for your
Excellent. Real
time today,
pleasure
Mike.
to speak with you. Thanks for the invitation. Been great to chat. Take care.
Save money and time with Stein Solutions. Book your first call today.